Tempest Therapeutics was up over 4,000% this week in reaction to positive results that they got from their liver cancer drug. So, obviously, very good fundamental news within a the disease that cancer is, which is really just so fatal. And there's been a lot of investments within R&D for cancer, and to see a positive result that could potentially help combat cancer is a huge thing for the medical industry, and it's really a justified rise in the stock is what we saw this week. Obviously, the stock pulled back somewhat, and we're kind of seeing a poison pill if you being swallowed by the company. So a large firm doesn't just come up and buy this relatively small company, right? The market cap's sub 100 mil. So what I'll do in this video is I'll go over the recent news for this company. I'll go over what you need to know about this stock, and I will go over the recent buying we saw from Vanguard. I'll also cover the balance sheet. At the end of the video, I will give a price prediction as well for the stock. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So the outlet confirms that patients who received the triple treatment demonstrated a 30% objective response rate, while patients who had received only the first two displayed a 13% ORR. Tempest is also testing against other types of tumors to measure its effectiveness in combating other cancers. So, cancer drug, super important for the medical industry. And this is really why this stock saw a justified rise in its price this week. So it is also worth noting that the board of directors adopted a limited duration stock rights plan effective immediately. This is known throughout Wall Street as a poison pill. The real goal of doing this rights plan is to basically have it so there isn't going to be a large company come in and buy this company. That's really why you would really only do a rights plan. And I'll read through the statement here from this company. So according to their CEO, today we announced exciting new randomized data in first-line HCC from our lead program, TPST-1120. Unfortunately, Tempest, like many other biotech companies, continues to experience a significant and ongoing dislocation in the trading price of the common stock. We intend the rights plan to enable all of our stockholders to realize the long-term value of their investment. The rights plan should reduce the likelihood that any person or groups gains control of Tempest through open market accumulation without paying any stockholders an appropriate control premium, or without providing the board sufficient time to make informed judgments and take actions that are in the best interest of all stockholders. So once again, they're protecting from kind of a hostile takeover, if you will. The board did not adopt the rights plan in response to any specific takeover threat. So there wasn't like someone going out there saying, "Hey, we're going to buy your company," and then they did this. This is kind of a preventative measure, if you will, to make sure there isn't any hostile takeover. In addition, the rights plan does not prevent the board from engaging with parties or accepting an acquisition proposal if the board believes that it is in the best interest of Tempest and its stockholders. The rights plan is similar to other plans adopted by publicly held companies in comparable circumstances, and does not contain any dead hand, slow hand, or no hand, or similar feature that limits the ability of the future board to redeem the rights. So they aren't ruling out the potential of being bought by another company by actually doing this rights plan. It just kind of gives the board their control in the situation, if you will. In connection with the adoption of the rights plan, the board declared a dividend of one right for each outstanding share of the company stock as of close of October 2023, or excuse me, of October 23rd, 2023, the record date. The rights will be exercisable only if a person or group acquires or launches a tender or exchange offer to acquire beneficial ownership of 10% or more of the company's common stock. So this basically means that if someone owns or tries to buy 10% or more of the stock, well, they're going to issue an extra voting right to every single outstanding shareholder. So if I own 10 shares of the stock and someone goes out and tries to buy this company, now I have rights to 20 shares, So my voting rights would be 20 shares. So it basically gives the existing shareholders more power if there is a takeover bid. So that's kind of how they're fighting this potential takeover. So that's kind of that it all explains. The rights plan will expire on October 10th of 2024, so it's only going to last like a year. Um, if Tempest stockholders approve the rights plan on October 10th, 2026, unless the rights are earlier redeemed by the company. So this will only last a year for this company. But with that being said, let's take a look at some of the existing shareholders for Tempest. So first off, let me just cover this. So institutions own about 27% of the stock. Institutions being, Vanguard, State Street, those large firms. And then the public owns about 30% of the stock, which really makes this kind of a retail stock, right? You don't see this very common throughout the market to have the public, right? Retail investors like me and you owning 30% of the company, right? So that's definitely a huge chunk. And then private equity and venture capital firms own about 32% of the company. And then hedge funds own about 8%. Hedge funds are typically active money in and out very quickly. So that's probably changing very quickly. But it is notable that the public owns a good amount of the stocks here. And then it's also worth noting that Vanguard Group actually increased their holdings by 23% over the past quarter. So this is obviously a passive indexer. They're really just right sizing their portfolio, so it's not the end all be all. But it is good to see that Vanguard is buying more of the stock, and that they had bought more before this kind of recent move. It is worth noting though that they have an average price of $36, so they're not making money off of this 400% gain, or excuse me, 4,000% gain that we saw this week. But it is worth noting that Vanguard is continuing to buy this stock, which is good to see. And then let's talk about short interest. So, not a huge short interest, only 1% of the float is sold short right now. And we can see that there are actually 0 shares available to be shorted, which I thought was quite interesting. So, none of these shareholders are lending out their stocks right now, which definitely does signal that there's not many shareholders out there that are looking to lend out their stock. Also, it's worth noting that short borrow fee rate is 244%. So for those that don't know, this basically means that investors who are lending their shares out to short sellers are doing so for 244% return back. So if you're an investor, you don't just lend out your shares to short sellers, you get back this short borrow fee rate. The higher it is, the more likely a short squeeze is, because it's just harder for people to short the stock. But given only 1% of the float is sold short, I wouldn't call this stock having a very high likelihood to squeeze higher, unfortunately. And then in terms of the balance sheet here, we can see that the company has $1.40 in cash per share, which is definitely nothing to sneeze at. And we do have $17 million in cash, just to give you kind of a clear number on that. And then in terms of total debt, we have $21 million. So more debt than cash, and we're burning $30 million a year. So net operating cash flow for the past 12 years was $30 million, negative $30 million. So the company's going to have to figure out something to kind of raise more capital. Might be equity raise, might be for, like I said, further equity raises, or a maybe issuing new debt. Probably equity, because debt is quite expensive at this point in time. But with that being said, let's take a look at the chart here and give a price prediction for this stock. So shares have topped out at this $4 level in the past. So this is where shares had topped out in April and in March of 2023. So this past level of resistance should act as new support. We saw this 340 level, or excuse me, $4 level, you can call it. This $4 level act as support in Thursday's trading session. We bounced off that level intraday, and we used it for a bit in Friday's trading session, but unfortunately we closed below this support level, which leads me to believe that we likely see a move down to the 200-day moving average at around $1.50 over the coming trading days. But I do believe we likely hold that level at about $1.50 and move higher over the coming days. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for this stock is that we hold our 50 and then we see a move back higher up to resistance at around $4. So that is what I'm seeing for this stock. And then 10 years of pricing data only. But as you can see, October is the best month in this stock's history. Obviously, the recent gain kind of throwing those numbers around a bit. But with that being said, this is an interesting stock. Any innovation within the cancer kind of space is received very positively throughout the market because cancer is such a prevalent drug throughout our society. Or actually, not drug, a disease. So any cancer drug that comes out that could potentially help people that have cancer is always going to be positively received through the market. So definitely good news for this company. This company isn't jumping for no reason, but it is worth noting that the technicals are signaling that we could see a move down to support at about $1.50. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you here next time.
Looking to learn more about the financial markets? Well, I just released a new course that will teach you everything you need to know about the stock market. You can find that at happyinvestingtoday.com. Also on the site, you can purchase one-on-one coaching sessions where I will break down your portfolio, and to better assist traders when searching for setups, I'm selling trading bots, which will tell you how your trading strategy has performed historically on a stock, crypto, or currency that you are researching. If you would also like to see what me and my experienced trading team are doing on a day-to-day basis, join our Discord, which is linked below, for a free 7-day trial. With that being said, please leave a like and subscribe. Appreciate you watching this video.